Let your oldest daughter be a daughter. Let them be a child first. Teach them responsibility, that's okay, but do not raise her like she's your assistant. Let her play. Let her be joyful like the rest. Let her rest. Do not rob her of her childhood, please. Welcome to the Rise and Rebuild podcast, where we break unhealthy cycles, heal what still hurts, and rebuild. If you're a woman of color, a firstborn daughter, a single woman, or a single mother, this is your space to finally breathe again. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of the Rise and Rebuild podcast. I am so glad you're here. If this is your first time, welcome home. My name is Lydia, and this is your space to finally breathe again. Happy Wednesday, you all, or whatever day it is that you're watching and listening to this episode. I hope you had a great Valentine weekend and welcome to another week. I hope you felt loved. I hope you loved on yourself and loved on your loved ones. Welcome. If you're new here, this is your space to heal what still hurts and get yourself to rebuild your life. So today, I want us to wrap up the firstborn daughter conversations that we've been having this past couple of weeks with a very important topic that some of you have been emailing me, DMing, some of you left comments on YouTube, TikTok, and all other social media platforms that we have, asking me to speak on how to raise eldest daughters or an elder child or an elder, especially eldest daughters. And how, as you do that as a mother, how do you avoid that rivalry that can crop up when you're raising multiple children? And I'm honestly so glad you asked these questions, because this lets me know that we are all collectively trying to do better now that we know better. And we are doing all it takes to break the damn cycle. Because if you and I don't feel the pain right now and break the cycle, guess what? Our children will carry that along with them, and eventually the cycle will break them. And we don't want that. We don't want our children ending up in therapy trying to deal with being raised by us, trying to deal with things they never got to understand, trying to deal with things they cannot even name. So the cycle ends with you and I, and that is why I am so glad that you asked this question. And especially if you're raising multiple children, you've probably seen the dynamic of that sibling rivalry come up, where the oldest daughter feels like she's doing too much and the young ones are doing so little, right? And so that is what I want us to also talk about. So we're going to talk about how do you raise an elder daughter, and how then do you try your best? Because we are not perfect. There's no parenting manual. How do we try to ensure that our kids try as much as possible to get along with each other, just to avoid that rivalry that can come to bite them later on when and if we are not here? So today, that is what I want us to center this conversation around. Let's talk about it. But before we do, let's be honest about eldest daughters, because I've talked about it over and over again. They're usually the ones who are naturally responsible, observant, maybe helpful, emotionally available or aware. They're very much self-aware most of the time. They notice everything. They can feel when mother is stressed. They can feel when dad is absent emotionally and physically. They can feel that something is off in the home or, around the house, with their parents, with their siblings. And because they are wired that way, you've heard me say it. It's not news to you right now. And you already know if you're a firstborn daughter or if you're a mother that is raising a firstborn child or an eldest daughter. Because of that configuration, they often step into helping without even being asked. And at first, it kind of looks like a blessing, but then it turns out not to be such a blessing as we thought it will be. People often say, she's such a good girl. She's so mature. She holds it all down together. But what we don't always realize is that maturity most of the time is just pressure to be more, to do more, and to just rise up and not have the luxury to be a child. And so, dear mamas, today I want us to pause And I want you to hear this with a lot of love as you raise your child, as you raise your daughter. There's a danger when the oldest daughter becomes the second adult. You've heard me say that. Your daughters are not your co-parents. She's not your co-parent. She's not your emotional support. She's not the built-in babysitter of your other kids. And I know most of us mothers don't intentionally do this. Sometimes you're just overwhelmed. Sometimes you're just burnt out. Sometimes you're just doing life alone as a single mother. And so your eldest daughter takes on the responsibility and becomes the parentified child. And maybe not even the eldest daughter per se in birth order, could be one of your kids is now a parentified child. Sometimes it can be any of your child, as I said, and quietly becomes the one carrying weight that belongs to the parent. And so when that happens, guess what? She doesn't just grow up responsible, she grows up over functioning because she's carrying way too much than she's supposed to carry. And that affects everything. So as we get into today's conversation, I want to make sure that you understand that truth, that your daughter is not your co-parent. She's not your emotional support. As hard as that may seem, as hard as it is to hear, as hard as it looks or seems to even understand, I hope it is landing that she's not any of those. She's not even the babysitter of your other kids. That is your sole responsibility as her mother. You brought her into this world. It is your responsibility to take care of her. You brought your other kids to this world. It's your responsibility as a mother to take care of them. So let's talk about where and how this sibling rivalry comes in. And let me just piggyback. A lot of what people call sibling rivalry is not really jealousy in display. No. Or especially in families with a strong firstborn daughter, it's actually the pressure that comes with the role of being a firstborn child or daughter. It's that emotional imbalance. It is a family system that quietly placed weight on one child more than the others. And so here's what happens. In such dynamics where there's that role imbalance, where, there's one is doing more than the other, the eldest daughter starts feeling like, hey, why am I always the one expected to help? Why do I have to be the role model? Why do I have to be the example or good example? Why do they, my younger siblings or my older siblings, whatever it is, why do they get away with everything while I can't seem to get away with that? Why am I always the one put on a pedestal? And this is because how you as the parent or as the mother are set up the eldest daughter to feel and become the parentified child that she is now. And so the younger siblings here in this case, they start feeling like, why is she always correcting me? Why does she act like she's my mom? She's not the boss of me anyway. So now what happens? Because now there's conflict there. It's not just siblings being siblings anymore. It is now a family system where one child has been placed above the others in responsibility. And it creates resentment to the core on both sides. The oldest resents the pressure that comes with the role of being the older child. The younger ones, they resent the control from the oldest. And then everyone else is tired. So most people think sibling rivalry is just, hey, mom likes this one more, or she likes this other one better, or this one is more clever than the other, or, oh, that's my toy, you took it away from me, those are my clothes, that is my bed, or you're always wanting your way. No. And not to minimize that, sometimes it is actually, yes, could be, but in a lot of situations and homes, that rivalry is deeper than just toys and roles and everything. It's not about the toys. It's about a stolen childhood. It's about who got to be a kid and who didn't get to be a kid. Because in many families, the eldest daughter, as I said, became something she was never meant to become. The second adult, the parentified child, the second mom, the stabilizer, the peacemaker, everything. And you've probably heard or seen that a lot of eldest daughters resent their siblings. Imagine they don't. from my experience, they just resent what their siblings represent. The younger ones got some level of softness, maybe. The younger ones got room to make mistakes. But the eldest daughter, what did she get? Responsibility. So she grows up feeling like, hey, I had to grow up too fast. And that becomes some quiet grief there. You mourn that because there's a lost childhood there. And if it is not heard or dealt with or healed, it shows up later in how, as an elder child, you now relate to your siblings. Because honestly, siblings do not want another parent. They just want a sister. But you're not able to be their sister because that's not how you were configured. So now that we understand that background, so what can you do as a mother? What can you do differently, dear mama? Because now that we know better, we have to do better. So how do you raise your eldest daughters while keeping peace among siblings? And you know me, let's get practical. I don't just talk because this is what you and I need to do. The first thing is let your oldest daughter be a daughter. Let them be a child first. Teach them responsibility, that's okay, but do not raise her like she's your assistant. Let her play, let her be joyful like the rest, let her rest, let her learn that she doesn't have to unrest. Let her be silly, be foolish for once. Let her have days where she doesn't have to show up, where she's not helping. Do not rob her of her childhood, please. Because that childhood, she can never ever get it back. She shouldn't have to earn it. She just gets to be a child once because she's one. So let her just be a child. That is one. Two, please stop overloading her with the pressure that because you're the oldest child, you need to do better. You need to be a good example to your siblings. Please. This later on, from my experience, creates a lot of resentment because what she hears is not that, hey, I need to, grow up and do all that. What she hears really as a firstborn child is I don't get grace. So I need to be perfect. I need to be this way so that I'm accepted. I need to lead this way. So you find that they struggle with a lot of perfection because you already put that pressure on them. Please don't do that. Don't. The third one, again, rather obvious, don't make her parent her siblings. Please do not. They should not be the primary parent or the primary disciplinarian to your children. She can help, yes, but she should not be the one to enforce discipline on them. She should not be the one who is trying to guide them, tell them what they need to do. I mean, they will stop seeing her as a sister and they will see her as a mother. Let her be who she is supposed to be and let you be mom, let you be dad if you're a dad listening to this, and let her be a sister. Please do not let her manage or control her siblings. The other one is create individual spaces for each child. The oldest child needs to feel seen beyond what she does. The younger ones need to feel valued beyond being the baby. So each of these children need moments of their own. As a parent, I've learned to actually create spaces for each one of my children. The oldest, the youngest, the middle child, I don't put them all together in one basket. I don't give them roles and assign them, hey, you're the oldest, now I need to treat you differently. No, same treatment, just at their own level of growth. Also, teach them that everyone has different roles, yes, but not different worth. They are all equal. One child helping does not mean that they are loved more or that is their role, or they are the ones that get to speak louder than the rest. They are not more important than the other people. Normalize fairness without comparison, because some of us compare our kids. Hey, why are you not like this, like so and so? Why are you doing this like so and so? Why are you not doing this like so and so? Be cautious when dealing with that. The other thing is, as a way of cycle breaking, check in with your eldest daughter emotionally. Sometimes just ask her, how are you really feeling? How are you really doing? Even if they are way older right now, just pause and ask them, check in with them, because they're tired of being strong all the time. Let them know that they don't need to always be the strong ones around you. You don't have to always ask. things from them. Also, ask them what do they need and provide that which they need. If you're raising them younger right now, check in with them as well. Let them know that mama is a safe space for us. Finally, apology is powerful. I know some of us were never taught to say sorry. Just apologize to your girl. Tell them you've realized that you've put too much on them. They don't have to carry that weight anymore. That one sentence can heal years of resentment. That is cycle breaking language. I am sorry. I didn't know how much weight you're carrying. I am willing to do better. So that's how you start to do better now that you know better. And to my firstborn daughters listening, I want you to clean in. You are allowed to stay back. You are allowed to be a sister, not just a savior. You're not responsible for holding the family together. And your siblings are your siblings. Just be a sister to them. Do not be the parent here. God never designed you to parent other people. God never designed you to carry what was not yours. And for the mothers listening, let me say this. You are not a bad mother for being tired and delegating to your firstborn child. Now you know better. You're not a bad mother for needing that help. But I want to make sure that help does not become a burden to your daughter, because the eldest daughter is precious. She's your beginning of strength, and her softness matters too. You don't need to train her to be hard all the time. So here's a question I want to leave you with. Ask yourself, am I raising my eldest daughter as a daughter or as my backup? And am I creating sibling connections if I have multiple children? Or sibling competition through uneven roles? Because when the roles are balanced, you all can breathe again. Siblings can thrive again. Cycles can break. Think about that. Okay, my friend, this was rather quick. That's it for today. I know you've got this. You will do better. We are breaking cycles, one cycle at a time. And today, maybe all you just need to do is one small shift. Go ahead, find your daughter, and apologize to that little girl, to your daughter that never got to be a child. Let her know that you see her now. If you need words, just tell her, baby, I see you. I didn't realize how much weight you are carrying, and I am sorry. Tell her you see her now. Tell her you're sorry she had to be so strong. Tell her she doesn't have to carry what isn't hers anymore. That might be the very thing that breaks the cycle for you and her. Send this to a mother raising daughters or raising a firstborn daughter. Tell them they need to hear this and how they can do better. I love you deeply. Take care of yourself until I get to speak to you again next week.